Jennifer was 44 and a half when she passed away. She had 3 sons, ages 8, 13, and 16. She was married. She died on their 17th wedding anniversary.
Jennifer Chaney began seeing Texas physician Gregory K. Phillips in January of 2008 for neck pain and poor thyroid function. In December, she re-injured her neck. Just a few days after Christmas, she died from a toxic mix of painkillers and other medications that Phillips prescribed.
What happened was Jennifer said, "Mom, I took a painkiller." She went down on the couch in the den. You know, she was going to go to sleep. I went to bed. Her husband went to bed. I am an early riser, and I tried to wake her up. And I couldn't. Jennifer was on her back. Jennifer never slept on her back. Called my son-in-law. He got her down on the floor to do a CPR. I called 911. And one of the things that I know is that she wasn't alive is because they never said, "We have a pulse."
11 months before the morning Jennifer's mother found her unresponsive, another woman in Dr. Phillips' care had also died from a toxic mix of pain and psychiatric medications he prescribed. What's more, Phillips had been disciplined repeatedly by the Texas Medical Board over the previous decade for mishandling prescriptions. Nonetheless, the board had allowed Dr. Phillips to continue seeing patients. The Texas Medical Board says the Phillips case took longer than usual and that the board followed all the steps required under state law.
The board was forced to go to trial on this case. That can take anywhere from 1 year to 3 years. It can be frustrating because obviously the board wants the right thing to happen as soon as possible in any given case. While there were serious allegations against Dr. Phillips, 2 patient deaths, the board still had to follow what was outlined by the legislature as required before any action could be taken.
Jennifer had a hypothyroid condition. Her body was not metabolizing all of these prescriptions. The last prescription he gave her was oxycodone. He also gave a hydrocodone on the same day. That is a no-no.
Dr. Phillips' case did not resolve early on in the informal process, while about 80 to 85% of our cases do. Dr. Phillips chose to pursue the formal process, and so it took at least 2 years longer than it would have had it settled under the informal process.
Phillips isn't the only doctor who has been allowed to continue practicing despite a record of misconduct that puts patients at risk. A USA Today investigation has found from 2001 to 2011, nearly 6,000 doctors were cited for wrongdoing so severe that their privileges to work at hospitals or other healthcare institutions were limited or taken away. Yet more than half of those doctors never had their licenses restricted or revoked, leaving them free to keep practicing medicine.
One of the things that the 8-year-old asked me, "Why did Mommy leave me?" How do you explain that to an 8-year-old? There is no possible way you can.
Find out how many doctors across the country had their privileges restricted for immediate threats to health or safety, malpractice, sexual violations, and other egregious conduct, but never faced licensure action by clicking through this graphic. Find the latest information in the When Healthcare Makes You Sick investigative series on usatoday.com.